Meantime, today, other Democrats are turning up their attacks on Donald Trump and Elon Musk, launching what they're calling a Social Security war room to fight back against DOJ's cuts to Social Security. They're also aiming to put pressure on their Republican colleagues.
We all need to stand up and get rid of Elon Musk and tell Donald Trump to keep his hands off our Social Security.
It was the third rail. But boy, they are grabbing it with both hands, aren't they?
We will use this war room as an opportunity to focus the energy around saving our Social Security.
Let's bring in NBC's Julie Surkin, who's on the Hill for us. Also with me, Julie Roginski, a Democratic strategist and the author of the Salty Politics letter on Substack. Okay, Julie Surkin, because I have to use both names. We have two Julies here. What is it specifically that the Democrats hope they can achieve with this war room?
Well, they're doing all they can, Chris, in the minority, which is message, to go on offensive, to try and be loud about this issue. And so the group of Democrats, you heard from some of them, including Brian Schatz of Hawaii, Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, also Mark Kelly of Arizona, and Ron Wyden of Oregon, are coming together to sort of lead this war room to try and push back against the Trump administration's efforts on DOJ's policies to slash offices that we've seen in the last couple of weeks, to cut offices and close offices around the country, to limit the way in which seniors who are entitled to these benefits can actually get somebody on the phone and talk to somebody about problems they may be having or registering for these benefits. And so this is Democrats' organized push to basically push back on those efforts from the administration. Take a listen to a little bit more of what Warren had to say on this.
The war room is about getting that effort organized. It is about oversight. It is about having a place to bring the stories so we can have all of the American people privy to what we hear, that you may not be able to afford rent, that you may not be able to afford food.
Now, Democrats are smartly capitalizing on an issue that is overwhelmingly popular and important for all Americans, no matter which party they're in, Republican or Democrat. Seniors are, of course, entitled to these benefits. They rely on these benefits, and has always been a very unpopular thing to touch, even though the entity does need some reforming to do. And so Democrats are going to capitalize on this. They're going to go out to those town halls that we've been seeing in the last couple of weeks to really try to own in on the one issue that they know, no matter what, is not going to be popular with the American people, and that is cutting into Social Security, Chris.
Julie Surkin, thank you for that. Okay, Julie Roginski. Democrats, again, as they say, this is about both messaging and oversight. But being in the minority, as she points out, makes oversight, shall we say, tough. Is this a good way to draw attention to an issue we know matters to folks?
Well, they should be drawing attention to it. Where I come from, as a messaging person in the Democratic Party, I think it's more effective to show and not tell. So if I were in their shoes, I would have gone to a Social Security office. I would have found seniors who are already struggling with getting through to their Social Security offices, who are being impacted already by these DOJ cuts. And I would have used them as the example of what is happening right now, because it's one thing for a bunch of wealthy senators to stand in the Senate in Washington and talk about this. It's totally different to have them standing alongside regular Americans who are being impacted by these cuts and put faces and names to this devastating policy. It's very, very important that Democrats stand this, because Social Security impacts millions upon millions of Americans who sometimes are Democrats, sometimes are Republicans, sometimes are neither. But nevertheless, all believe very strongly that this is a sacrosanct program that should not be touched. And now you have the world's biggest, richest billionaire cutting their Social Security, cutting their funding in order to get tax breaks for himself and his fellow really rich buddies. And so I think that's a very important message for them to put forward. How they put it forward, however, is the crux here.
Well, let's talk about a specific example. For example, the Trump administration says it's trying to increase efficiency by pushing recipients away from using the phone. They want them to come in person. They want them to use online services. But just yesterday, the main portal for recipients to manage their benefits online had a full outage. So all these people who were trying to do what they were told to do, which was go online, couldn't. Traditional war rooms, and I've been in them. I've been in them during a debate night. I've been in them during a campaign. They respond instantaneously, in real time, when things happen. They do things geographically in real time when something happens. I don't need to tell you because you're a messaging person, but how could this be used most effectively, and how important is it to live